Before we start the service, I'm going to ask everyone to please silence all the electronic devices to make sure we have the proper decorum and dignity during the course of the Levaya, course of the funeral. My name is Rabbi Binyamin Blau, and I have the privilege of officiating at the funeral of Izhak Shamir, Yitzhak Meir Ben Dov, an incredible man who we're honored to pay tribute to. We're going to start with a parak of Tehillim. We're going to do Tehillim Chaf Gimel. Mizmor LeDavid, Adonai Roi Lo Exor, Binos Tesha Yabiteni Amimenuchot Yinaleini, Nafshi Yishovev, Yancheni Maglei Tzedek Leman Shimo, Gam Ki Elek Begeit Zamavet, Lo Yirara Ki Ato Imodi, Shifta Kol Mishantecha Hema Yenachamuni, Tarok Levanai Shochan Neget Zoriroi, Dishanta Bashem En Roshi Kosi Rivoya, Achto v'chesed yidafuni kol yemei chayai, v'shavti v'es Adonai li'orech yamim. Just want to explain that I think it's perhaps fitting that today's funeral is on Rosh Chodesh. Because on Rosh Chodesh, you can't have the normal type of eulogies. You can only learn from the person's life. And anyone who knew Itzik, Saba, as he was fondly known in the community, he really did not like the limelight. He was a great snua. He was a man of modesty, of dignity, very private. In fact, we were discussing yesterday how he would feel about all of us gathered together talking about him. But he deserves it. Magia lo, kamo shomrim, he really deserved it for the man that he was. So we're going to ask members of the family, each one, four members of the family, to come up and tell us about the man he was and what we could learn from his life. We're going to start with his daughter, Daphne.
I'm not sure how to begin to fully capture the life and legacy of our father. He was a Holocaust survivor, but that was not what defined him. In fact, I didn't even know about his experience during the war or that he was on the famous ship, the Exodus, until I was in my teens. Growing up, he always told me he was from Israel. And I believe that was true in a deeper sense, because he took tremendous pride in having lived in Israel and served in its navy. He chose to define his life not by what he endured, but by what he built. I think of Abba's trip on the Exodus as an analogy to Noach's trip in the Teva, Ark, in this week's Parsha, leaving the destruction of the past behind for the promise of a new beginning. As an only child, Abba lost his mother at a very young age, but he didn't dwell in sorrow. Instead, he focused on the blessings he had, particularly his father, whom he lived with, cared for, and devoted himself to, even enlisting in the Navy in Haifa, so he would never be too far from him. Our father led by example. His kibud av va'em, the honor he showed to his parents and to our mother's parents, was unparalleled. His love and devotion to our mother was beyond words. He showed us what it means to be a true partner in life, loving, loyal, protective, and strong. His dedication to her and our family was constant and unwavering. He worked tirelessly with integrity and honesty, and that earned the admiration of everyone, whether they were employees, customers, friends, or strangers. He poured all of that effort into building a life for us. His greatest pride and joy was in his children, and later in our spouses and his grandchildren and great-grandchildren. He was never happier than when our family grew. I always remember how Richie became like a son to him even when we were still teenagers. That's how Abba was. To him, family was everything. To all of his grandchildren and great-grandchildren, those here today and those listening, please know his love for you was boundless. You were his light, his purpose, and his legacy. One personal memory I'll always cherish is how he drove me to school every single day. And that was no short trip. When I was very young, those drives were in his red tow truck. Over the years, the vehicles may have changed, but the lessons stayed the same. In those quiet hours together, he taught me, not just through words, but through the way he lived, about the importance of family, faith, humility, and always doing the right thing. Abba truly embodied the pasuk, Ezehu Ashir Hasameach Bechelko. To everyone here today, thank you for being here and for honoring our father's memory. Abba, if there are ever times I failed to give you the honor you deserved, I ask for mechila. We promise to take care of Ima in the way we know you would have wanted. Ima, we love you and we are here for you. And so, this only child, a Holocaust survivor from Warsaw, who walked across Europe to escape persecution, who made the Exodus his personal teva and refused to let his past define him, determined to build a great future, found the love of his life, and together they launched their very own great nation. B'li Ayin Hara, 50 children, grandchildren, great-grandchildren, and counting. Abba, I love you.
Daughter Racheli.
Firstly, Daphna, thank you for your very, very moving words. You'll see our experience, even though you and I are 8 years apart, is just so similar and is a testimony to what it was like to have Abba as our father. Abba, when I think of you, so many words come to mind. Wisdom, intelligence, honesty, moral character and integrity, kindness and modesty. One word I wish to focus on to encapsulate my thoughts is journey. Abba, as Daphna already expressed as well, you were born into turbulent times for our people. Warsaw, Poland, 1938. And so, early on began your journey. Escape from Warsaw with your parents by foot much of the way eastward to Soviet territory. Journey, escape, survival. You were just a child. After the war, you boarded the Exodus 1947 for Eretz Israel. Expelled by the British, you journeyed by ship with your parents to DP camp in Germany. Journey, survival. You then boarded another ship with your parents to arrive in our new homeland, your new homeland. There you began to build your roots. You married Ima, the love of your life. 2 Holocaust survivors rebuilding. New journey, new life. For me, The Holocaust adds an additional layer of pain, another layer of loss. While you have always been mine and Donnie's and Daphna's protector, I, your daughter, I always wanted to protect you. For unfathomable reasons, you were chased, forced to flee, journey, move, and escape. Knowing what you endured from such a young age made me want to protect and shield you. But once again, I can reflect the same, that I actually didn't know my father was a Holocaust survivor until around bat mitzvah age. Abba, despite all this, Hashem blessed you with a full and rich life. Against all odds, you survived. You thrived. You evolved to be blessed with a wonderful journey, a journey of a life well lived, a journey of love and family. Abba, you were blessed to be the patriarch of this wonderful family. Ima, yours and Abba's marriage is an example for all of us to learn from. A love that is rare and so beautiful. Dani, Daphna, and I are blessed to have been raised in your home. For me, Abba, you have always been my rock. You always had a unique, strong, steady perspective on all things. As a child, if I complained, I wasn't happy, if I cried, you would say, Rachelchi, why are you crying? You have a roof over your head. You have food. Everything is good. When we had a house fire, I cried. Abba, you were so grateful for all that really mattered. You pointed to all that was left of our belongings. You held me close. You held my face. You looked at my eyes. You said, Rachelchi, it's shmatas. And you were right. Abba, you and Ima excelled in kibud avim. Sabadov was always an integral part of our home. You and Ima showed us by example how to truly respect a parent, wholeheartedly and naturally. When we lived in Bat Galim, with one bedroom, a young growing family, of course, the one bedroom belonged to Sabadov. A testament to my father and the beautiful marriage with my mother. We will always cherish the wise Yiddish Vortalach from Sabadov that you and Ima shared with us over all these years. Abba, I know I speak for Dani, Daphna, and myself, as well as all your grandchildren and great-grandchildren, when I say we have been blessed to be a part of your journey, Abba. We all know that you would be the last person, as Rabbi Blau expressed, to want to be the center of all this attention. Your way has been one of peace, calm, and modesty. I do, however, believe the beautiful family of which you are the patriarch is the greatest testament to your depth of character. You are the captain that has steered this ship, the ship of our family, in your steady, quiet way. You taught us to be good, to be righteous. I am grateful, Abba, that we could surround you as you transitioned to your final journey, a journey which is a culmination of a beautiful life surrounded by your loving family. Thank you, Abba, for everything. I ask for mechila for anything I may have done wrong. You now must leave us in this physical world as your neshama rises to join a Kadosh Baruch Hu. Rest, my most special Abba. You together with Ima raised a strong family. We will support each other. We will take care of Ima. Please be our advocate, Bashamayim, for your family, people, and nation you loved so much. I love you, Abba.
Izhak was extremely close with all of his grandchildren. To represent them all, I'm going to call upon Izhak Shamir.
Thank you all for being here today. I'd like to preface that while I was given an opportunity and honor to speak on behalf of my siblings and my cousins, the words I prepared in no way do justice or fully encapsulate the entirety of our thoughts and feelings of our grandfather. I hope and expect that we'll continue to share those thoughts and feelings and memories with each other and our communities throughout the world as this will remain one of the best ways to honor our grandfather's legacy. Our Saba was a man of few words, but he's a man full of so much wisdom. While very technical in his profession as a mechanic, or as I just learned yesterday, he preferred to be known an automotive technician, working so precisely and meticulously on any project or repair which came his way, sometimes remaining as rigid and as focused as a surgeon. With his family and his friends, Saba could look at you, give a gentle smile or nod of his head, and you knew he understood what you were thinking, what you were feeling, and that you were seen and cared for. He was an only child who created his own flourishing family, the magnitude of which likely far beyond what he and his parents ever envisioned. To this day, I still do not comprehend the hardships that you went through. Yet somehow you persevered. You found a way to smile and make those around you smile. I've already looked through dozens of pictures of our Saba, some from over 30 years ago, and one thing remains constant throughout all the pictures me, my siblings, cousins, children, and family shared with him. Nothing gave him greater nachat than seeing and spending time with his kinderlach, or in his own words, his mamales, something I've only come to appreciate more fully after becoming a parent myself. My family and I were lucky enough to visit Saba and Savta this past summer. During our visit, my son Gaby, who has struck an interest in chess and checkers, asked to play checkers with his Saba at the dining room table. Despite his age and condition, I watched our grandfather make his way through the board and game with my son, move by move, jump by jump. At the end of the game, as we began collecting all of the pieces, I wondered if Gaby truly beat Saba. It was at that point I looked up, and without a word, I saw that same look and nod of his head that he would so often give, knowing our grandfather was, at least in part, allowing Gaby to succeed. He was taking in the happy moment with his family, just as I was, moments I wish were more frequent and will sorely miss. It wasn't until his later years, when we would visit, that Saba would refuse to say goodbye, knowing all too well how hard real goodbyes are. I don't consider his passing a departure or a goodbye from our family. His fingerprints remain and are discoverable throughout every part of our family and our homes. His mannerisms, philosophies, quirks, even his funny way of clicking in Morse code to our babies, are etched on all of us. Saba is nifter from this world, but not from our hearts. We were all so blessed to have been gifted you as a teacher, a mentor, a friend, a parent, grandparent, a great-grandparent, and perhaps most importantly to Savta, a loving spouse and true partner for so many years. You have left us all with the blueprint for how to lead a full and loving life. With the help of this community, we'll work our hardest to continue giving you the nachat that you deserve to see. We love you, Saba.
I'd like to call upon his son, Donnie, for the last aspect.
You heard from my sisters. You heard about the history, his time in Europe, turbulent times in Europe, his new life in Israel, budding new family in Israel, and then the move to America to reunite the family. He was very quiet. He was very private. Many of you may have met him, but most of you probably don't know him. One of my friends texted me and said one of the most amazing things was that he spoke to children as if they were adults. And he remembered, because childhood friend, that he'd come over and my father would literally talk to him as if they were adults. And to tell me I got talking in the mic. All right. So he spoke to children as if they were adults. And that was something that struck him at a very young age. He had a unique way, my father, of looking at the world. He saw things with eyes that other people didn't always see. I remember some of my first memories in Israel. We would collect stamps. Now, that's antiquated nowadays. Nobody collects stamps because who mails anything, right? But at the end of the day, we collected stamps, and we would get stamps from all over the world, British stamps, this, that. We'd soak them. We'd get them from friends, etc. So, stamps, collected coins. So I had a whole coin collection with him. Then, checkers, chess. I mean, he made sure that this is what you do. You teach your kids how to do that, and that's what we did. When I was little, I wanted a scooter. Well, we didn't have a lot of money, and we couldn't afford a scooter, so he built me one. Now, most of you probably don't know the name for a ball bearing in Hebrew. It's called a Kugellager. Now, you all know the name, remember it. But he got Kugellagers and built me a scooter. Well, that's just who my father was. In our house, when we were young, again, he came from a World War II mentality. If something was broken, you fixed it. We just didn't go out and get stuff. We rebuilt a kitchen. We rebuilt a bathroom. The HVAC went. We took care of it. We fixed it. Electrical systems, whatever it was, he figured out how to do it, and he did it. And by default, I always was involved in the project, so I learned how to do it. And so I carry that legacy with me. He was a very experiential learner, and he basically passed that on to us. He taught us with experiences. He had amazing visual spatial skills. You all know he was a mechanic, automotive technician, whatever we're going to call him now. But he could look at an engine from the top and realize I can't get to something there, go under the car and reach like this and just find it, screw it, unscrew it, put it back together. That's what he did. That's the way he viewed the world. In his head, it all worked. Though, in all honesty, the garage really wouldn't have been his first preference of places to be. He was meticulous, but he was also very clean. And the garage is not a clean place. I mean, he used to have a sweep in the place. Back before everybody was masking like we do now, and it was mandated this, that, most of you are probably too young to remember, but brake pads were made of asbestos. Okay, well, that's not good stuff. And so my father, for all his employees, made them mask, pour water over the brakes, the brake job, and they collected it and dumped it somewhere else so they could do the brake job without exposing themselves. He felt petroleum products were terrible for us. So he made sure that we minimized exposure, got gloves, made sure we took care of things the way we should. And given his choice, he sat there and tinkered with the electrical system of the car, not the rest, even though he could do the rest. I remember when we came to the States, snow wasn't a big commodity in Israel. So we show up here, and, well, it's snowing. And he looks at the cars and goes, what's wrong with these people? Why aren't there wipers on the back? He goes, they're all there scraping the back of the cars, but why aren't there wipers? Sure enough, 5 years later, there's wipers. He should have done something with that, but he didn't. He really didn't. But that's the way his mind worked. That's who he was. He really, I grew up in the garage with him. I drove that tow truck. Believe me, I drove that tow truck. That's what I did after school. And it was a time well spent. You learn by example. And hopefully, I can just take what he's learned and pass it on to my kids. He was very proud of the fact in Hebrew there's a word called chush, and it basically is an innate ability, a way to understand and do things. And certain things people have, it's that visual spatial, I see it, I can do it kind of thing. Many of the grandkids were blessed with it. Hopefully the great-grandkids will be as well. And behind all this, he had a very special relationship with God. And it wasn't formal. He was very spiritual, but you guys never saw him in shul. It just wasn't for him. But, we'd come home from shul, he'd be sitting there reading the Parsha. But he'd be doing that at home. He just didn't go to shul for that. And he was a consummate Zionist. Basically, when we came to this country initially, if Israel was on the news, it was quiet in the house. We had to know what was going on. So, the greatest tribute to him is his kids, the fact that his kids, his grandkids, great-grandkids, they're Jewish, they have Jewish identities, and that's what he wanted for them. Some made Aliyah, some live with it here in the United States. But to him, family, as they've said, family was the most important thing. And the fact that his kids all remain Jewish, his grandkids and great-grandkids are all going to day school for him was a very big thing. So I think overall he had a life that was turbulent at times. He traveled out of necessity. But at the end, it was a life very well lived, and he made the most of everything he was afforded, and he was sorely missed. Thank you.
Just want to conclude with a few remarks. First, I want to note the presence of Rabbi Joel, the head of School of Fuchs Mizrahi School, Rabbi Kyle, the assistant rabbi of Green Road. I thank you both for coming and paying honor. You've heard a lot about who he was. You heard a lot about how much he cared for his children and grandchildren and great-grandchildren. But I want to take the moment to say that his family cared for him in the very same way. And I think it's so important to talk about the great care that they gave him and the love that they showed him his entire life, particularly the last years. And I'm going to single out Yudit, who is amazing. She took such good care of him. For the last few years, I've had the opportunity to be in touch with her on a regular basis. And I'd always ask about Izhak, and she protected him, nurtured him, cared for him, did everything she could to make sure he could live the life he wanted to live. They were a beautiful team together, and the greatest legacy that he has left is his family, an incredible family who we're all privileged to know. As Donnie just mentioned, a family where everyone, all of them, that's very rare, children, grandchildren, God willing, great-grandchildren, are following his example. He lives that glorious, glorious legacy of the family that he built and the life that he lived, that so many of us learned from and will continue to draw on for many years to come. Yehi Zichro Baruch, may his memory be a blessing. In lieu of the fact we're not going to do the regular Kel Maleh because it is Rosh Chodesh, I am going to ask everyone to rise. We're going to say another parak of Tehillim. Those who can are asked to do so. Michtam LeDavid, Shamreini El Ki Chasi Sivach, Amart LaDonai Adonai Ata Tavasi Balalecha, Likdosh Meshaba Eretz Heima Vadirei Kal Chef Sivam, Yebuat Vasam Achar Meharu, Balasich Nislehem Hidam Valasash Masam Alsvasa, Yadonai Manaz Kal Kive Chosi Ata Tamich Gorali, Chavalim Naftali Banimim Afnakala Shafra Alai, Avareches Adonai Asher Yatzoni Afleilos Yisuni Chilyotai. Shiviti Adonai Dedi Tamir Kmini Belamot. Lokein Samach Libi V'Yagel Kvodi Apasari Yishkon Leveta. Akilot Azov Nafshi Lishol. Lo Titein Chatkit Kol Diroshacha. Todi Eni Orach Hayim Tavas Machot Et Panecha. Nimot B'Mincha Netzach. You may be seated. We have concluded this part of the Levaya. The interment will take place right afterwards. We'll get Ted to Zion Memorial Park, 5461 Northfield Road in Bedford Heights, Ohio. The family will be sitting Shiva at the home of Daphne and Richie Sokoloff, 2375 Halcyon Road in Beechwood. And the times of visitation are as follows. First, the times for Minyanim. We'll be having Minyan tonight at 6:20, and that'll be until through Monday night. And Shachrit starting tomorrow will be 8 a.m. Again, that'll be through Tuesday morning. Visitation hours are in the mornings 9 a.m. to 12 p.m., afternoons 2 to 5, in the evenings after Mincha Marv until 9 p.m. The two distinctions are Friday is only until 12, and then Saturday night after Motzei Shabbat, 8 to 9:30 p.m. Anyone who'd like to do donations in his memory or suggest to do so to Green Road Synagogue or to Na'amat. Once again, we thank you all for coming.
Headlights and hazards if going to the cemetery. Please proceed to your vehicle. Anyone going to the cemetery, please turn on your headlights and hazards and return to your vehicle. Headlights and hazards is going to the cemetery. Please return to your vehicles if you're going. Going to the cemetery, please return to your vehicles and turn on your headlights and hazards. Please return to your vehicles if you're going to the cemetery and be sure to turn on your headlights and hazards. Please return to your vehicle if you're going to the cemetery and be sure to turn on your headlights and hazards. Going to the cemetery, please return to your vehicles and turn on your headlights and hazards. Everybody, please return to your vehicles and remember to turn on headlights and hazards. Thank you.